Annette Whittenberger, Army veteran.
So, what inspired you to join the military?
Actually, it was a friend in high school. She enlisted, and I thought it was so cool. We went to an all-girl Catholic high school, and so that wasn't the norm. And so when someone does this, it's like, wow, that is so cool. So I thought it was a cool idea, but then I chickened out and I did ROTC instead.
Can you tell me a little bit about your own mental health journey?
Yes, so I think I've always had some sort of depression and anxiety. I just never really dug into it because, growing up in the 80s, that wasn't something that you spoke about. So it wasn't until I retired in 2016 where it all came to light. It all started making sense, but it was even more difficult to cope with it because I spent 30 plus years pushing it aside, and then having the military as a place to kind of mask all those feelings and be somebody else, to retiring, losing that identity, losing that safe space, and now having to realize, oh my gosh, I kind of had to figure this out by myself because I don't have that structure anymore. And so that's when I realized that I was going through a lot of stuff.
How is writing it down in the blog? How did that help your healing process?
I think it was a lot different putting it into words. It almost made it more valid in a way. And then having other people read about it, and then them telling me that, oh, yeah, I'm going through the same thing. And, basically, you're not alone. So that was kind of a wake up call to, oh, okay, so it's kind of normal. It's okay. And now we're here to kind of put it out in the open.
I know for me, I live with bipolar disorder too, and just hearing people's stories makes me feel better more than tips or anything like that. Did
Yeah.
Was that the same thing for you when you're talking to people that made you feel better? You aren't alone.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was almost like it's okay to not be okay. It's okay because other people are going through it as well, and it's okay to actually talk about it because so many people are out there trying to end the stigma. And so, what better way to try to do that than to say, "Hey, I'm going through this too, and I'm not afraid to talk about it."
And not only in military, but life in general. How important is using empathy?
Exactly. And we need more of that, because there's still that stigma. There's still people out there who think you should be okay. Oh, that was years ago, or that happened a long time ago. You should be over it. When in fact, it's a daily battle.
Yeah.
It's absolutely a struggle, and it's such a challenge to try to cope with it. And yes, there's resources. Yes, we talk about it, but it's still. I mean, I just had a breakdown 30 minutes ago. So, you know what I mean? Like it's still going to happen. And then I had to learn to go, okay, I'm about to be on a podcast in 30 minutes. I need to get it together. But it happens. It's
Yeah.
it's it's real life, and it's hard.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong about that at all.
No.
So,
No, we have to tell people that.
so when you talk to people, how does it feel that you're making an impact on their lives?
It's kind of funny to me that I will advocate for someone else. I will try everything in my power to help somebody else, but I can't help myself. Um, it makes me feel good that I can help somebody. when they tell me that I've helped them with whatever it is, I feel like I have a purpose. And some may say, well, you do have a purpose in that, you do all these things. But when we live with mental health diagnosis, um, there's days where we don't,
Yeah.
right? And it's almost like we need that validation from someone else. Um, and I know people are gonna say, hey, you don't need validation. I know, I get it, but when we live with this, that's just what is in our head.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
I know for me, whenever I get compliments, that like changes my mood completely.
You know, it changes me too, but I almost feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to accept that compliment. I don't know why. It's not like I've never been complimented in my life before, but I think in our society, just me growing up, it was always you're gonna do this or else. And in the military, you just had to do things because you were told. So then when we're living in this different era now, to be complimented, it's like, oh, well, I was just doing what I was supposed to do. I was just doing my job, or I just thought I'd be helpful. So it's just weird. Like I always have to have a comeback with why I did it. I can't ever just accept it. It's so hard.
What are some of the things you've learned from your family?
Gosh. My kids have seen the really bad parts of me, and it wasn't just until a few years ago where I finally realized I can't, I have to change something because how am I going to have them go out to the world only seeing this?
Yeah.
You know, I need them to see that you can come out of it, that it's okay to have emotions and be angry and be sad and cry, but then you have to pick yourself back up again. I wasn't able to do that before because I was struggling so bad and I was in such a dark place that all I considered was how I felt. I never saw what they saw, you know, or how they felt. So I think that's what really changed me is just seeing things through their eyes. And that was hard too.
What are some of the things that motivate you?
Oh gosh, you know, I really love helping people. We've just in general, I think all of us have at least known one person that has lost somebody to suicide. And that really hits home for me because I've attempted suicide quite a few times and I've known people who've lost somebody and I've actually known people who have took their lives. And it's a constant reminder of why I need to keep doing what I'm doing, even if I can just save one person. I know I can't save everybody, but if we can just each, try to help and at least save one person, maybe the suicide rates will go down. It's been going on for so many years.
Yeah. What would you say to any veterans or active duty going through a tough time?
That's hard because I would tell them to talk to somebody, but yet I've never been consistent with talking to somebody. I've always tried and then I stop. Tried and then I stop. I know how difficult it is to try to get help, because we don't want anyone to know about it, and we feel like if the only way to do it is go on a military base, when in fact there's so many resources out there that won't relay that information back to your chain of command. So I would tell them to find a nonprofit, and I have so many resources, find that community that is there for you, that won't go back and they won't tell your business.
Yeah.
And I think that was just one of the fears that I had, was there's no way I was going to risk my career, so I'm just going to pretend I'm okay. So now I tell people, no, so many people out there, so many nonprofits out there that are willing to help you, and you won't have to worry about that. So don't be afraid to speak up, you know. But I know that's a struggle.
With your blog and everything, where do you want to see it in the next few years?
I wanted I wanted to just be like I want it to be known. I want people to go, you know what, I could go to Annette because she's been there and she shares stories from other people. She shares her own stories. So I want people to remember my name, or I want to leave that legacy for my own kids, but I want to leave it for others to show that, I really tried. I really tried to have this safe space, this community for people, and that's where I want it to go. I want people to go, hey, a wild ride called life. I remember that. I know I could go there and I can find what I need. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's still a challenge too, right? To keep it up because we all go through our own struggles. So, but yeah, that's what I want. I want to leave a legacy.
How can people reach out to you?
They can go to my website at wildridecalllife.com, and I'm on all social media as well.